Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 504 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I am joined today by two of the finest geeks that you are ever going to meet. I have Chris DeBona.
Hey.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello there.
Have we all recovered from our post-Lost Boys love coma?
Cry, little children.
Whoa.
It was that or play the sax.
Yeah. Saxophone.
Yes, I didn't know that we were in a love coma. But...
I mean, I was lulled into an erotic nap. I think.
Whoa.
I know, but it's Kiefer's hair mostly.
It's a lot of sharing.
You know, I'm an open guy. Okay, so the first one that I had on the Taco Zone today is a funny one. It's a Chrome feature is creating enormous load on global DNS. But the story behind this is something that I had never. I mean, I'd thought about it, but it's a weird intersection. Chris, do you know the details of this one?
I don't.
Okay,
but
so this is awesome.
Funny.
Let me go through this for Rob's benefit. So remember back in the day where they added the thing where you type in some random words into your search bar and then it does like an autocomplete. Well, one of the things that it needs to do during the autocomplete is do a DNS lookup. Because you might be typing in, bob.com and it wants to be able to look up bob.com. So the problem is that a bunch of ISPs are doing the super debag technique where they intercept DNS lookups and route domain names that don't exist to their own, usually an advertising service, but also some sort of help service, which is totally against the RFC and one of those things that makes me angry beyond measure. So anyway, the solution to this problem that Chrome implemented many years ago, and they get all the clever points in the world. So Chris, whoever did this, you find them and you pat them on the back. They look up random strings of letters that probabilistically should not have domain names, and they do 3 of them. And if 2 of the 3 come back, they know that. Basically, you can detect if your domain names are being redirected by the ISP, and then you can operate around it and not even bother with that anymore because you know that the ISP is a garbage company and that you hate them. So anyway, the problem with all of this is that over time, this is increasing domain lookups. And since these specifically are random character strings, like just a block of random letters, they will never be cached by anything up the chain. So the problem is that they're going up the chain to the root servers, and this is over time increasing the amount of requests on the root server, which again it's like duct tape, and then putting duct tape on top of that. But anyway, that's the weirdest story that I've read this morning, and I'm excited to bump into it.
What was the response from my colleagues at Google? They're like, okay, we'll try something different. I mean, did they have a fix?
I didn't see that there was a fix. This is just something that is a rising concern. And if you look at it, it's not like it's the end of the world, right? This is over. No. This is between 2010 and 2020. It's an increase in these particular DNS lookups. It's not like it's an apocalypse or anything, but it is absolutely a case of the ISPs doing something crappy, then the browser's figuring out a weird way to sort of optimize around that thing that they're doing, and then eventually that catches up to you, that technical debt. But in this case, the technical debt, is a billion Chrome browsers doing DNS lookups on random letters.
So what's funny about this is also a map of Chrome's popularity too, isn't it?
That's exactly what this is.
No, I mean, like as we crossed 50% of the internet, we're about 50% of root DNS traffic. I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, we put everything we can on 8888 and 8844. But I'm good. Honestly, I hate it when it's hotel, or folks like Verizon or whoever do that DNS injection and use it as an opportunity to sell me stuff.
It's garbage. It's one of my. I mean, we covered this back in the day extensively when ISPs first started doing it. The only time that I think that that's ethical is when you're on an ISP like a public Wi-Fi and you have to do some sort of authentication. That's the only time that you should be, as an ISP, allowed to redirect domain names, just because for the sheer security risk that this opens up. Just the fact that like the nightmare security holes that this opens up, where you know full well that your ISP can just sniff in on any packet from Google.com. I mean, that's not cool, guys. Just because the word didn't exist in your little database that you have the opportunity to just show me an ad, that makes me angry. But I also am a huge fan of clever hacks. And I like the clever hack.
Can I just point something out?
Yes.
So isn't VeriSign owned by Verizon? VeriSign owned.
I don't know.
Symantec owns VeriSign's authentication business. Okay. And Symantec is owned by... Oh, no. It's its own thing. Oh. Shows what I know.
It's an independent entity?
Yeah, I mean, they make money from domains, right? So, yeah. Okay.
Fair enough.
Cool, man.
All right, so less technical. Rob, why are we finding bodies in funeral homes that are still alive?
Again. Geez, Rob.
Well, my methods have become unsound, gentlemen. No. No, I mean, that's just something that happens every now and again, right? I'm really surprised with COVID being the way it is, with people being on ventilators, that this hasn't happened more often. But, I mean, back in the day, this was a huge concern. I mean, you can go and look up at all the different devices they made to fit into coffins in case you were accidentally buried, like, in the early 1900s, late 1800s, this was a real concern. It's a much more rare now because medical technology has gotten a lot better.
This is what you're describing. Is that not the origin of the term dead ringer, or is that apocryphal?
I'm not sure.
My
understanding... I know that there was that one of the devices they used to have was a system where you could ring a bell and they'd run a string down into your casket. If you woke up buried alive, you could pull the string to let people know, hey, I've got about 3 hours of air. I hope you can dig fast.
Glad you ran a string and not a tube.
Right.
No, I thought that was the origination of the word dead ringer.
It very well may be.
That could be. All right. Well, here's hoping. You also found the thing that I think is the darkest story that I've read in a while, which is TikTokers pretending to be Holocaust victims.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you read through this one, the best argument that some of them are making is that it's
not a good argument.
It is not, but the best argument that they have is that this is sort of a form of interactive history. They are like the historical reenactors you would see, except they're pretending to be Holocaust victims on TikTok instead of, the people you would find at Greenfield Village here, which is a sort of a place near us here, near Grand Rapids, where you can go and see Thomas Edison's, one of his original labs, and it's all set up like the 1800s and stuff. So yeah, but people are pretending to be Holocaust victims, and I guess some people are doing it, saying they're doing it for educational purposes, but they've become so popular now that it's a trend, evidently, and more people. So they're doing it for the likes, and
for the internet points,
for the lulz.
Yeah.
What's
okay,
weird to me,
so what you're not seeing is I'm in another tab in TikTok, and I'm looking through Locked Out of Heaven, and I got to be honest with you, TikTok's got a huge problem. There's no way these people are over 13.
Oh.
I mean, this whole site's going to get shut down. I mean, I'm trying to find some Holocaust ones, and
we don't have to do that.
But I mean, there's and this isn't like a sex thing. I mean, it's just these are really young people.
Yeah, that's why we don't need to don't need to shame them.
No, I'm not going to shame them, but it's just like there's no way this is compliant with the COPA law, the Children Online Protection Act.
What's weird to me about this one is that the modern like you can't wear a Native American headdress. And like that's now inappropriate. Like the costumes that we wore as kids, like for Halloween and stuff, like a lot of those you can't really wear anymore, like without people like raising an eyebrow about cultural appropriation or whatever. But this people do, and this is okay.
No,
I mean,
okay.
it's not okay. It's a fast moving trend.
Although, I mean, there's nothing about them that, you know, like they don't have tattoos. They're not wearing like the Star of David. You know, they're not wearing that sort of garb.
That's true.
That they made Jews wear. They're just putting on shitty, you know, like bruising and that sort of thing makeup and trying to look gaunt. I mean, it's kind of gross, if you ask me.
What's weird is that, I mean, from your description, it actually doesn't sound that dissimilar from people doing like a zombie costume. If they're not adopting the other sort of, I don't know, like I'm thinking of the opening scene of the X-Men movie where you see Magneto in the Holocaust camp, you know, like black and white grainy footage, like the uniforms.
At least the ones I have, they're not wearing, you know, like the striped uniforms or anything like that. They're just kids with bruise makeup, and they talk about life in the, you know, the whole thing is they're pretending that they have died and they're at the gates of heaven, and they're talking about, you know, their experience in the concentration camp. So
that's weird.
Yeah, you have to realize there's been a couple of trends. There was one on TikTok a while ago where it was people basically putting on bruise makeup and sort of fake wounds and that kind of thing. And they said they were trying to bring attention to abuse issues. Okay. And then before that was people basically doing themselves as mug shots as if they had been arrested. And I'm like, okay, stop. Just stop. You're not raising awareness. This is just morbid and creepy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And that's one thing that they said, but you know, it's like one of those things where every now and again someone says they're raising awareness about something, but do you think that people don't know about the Holocaust? You know, how much more awareness do you need to raise?
I mean, honestly, you need to raise more awareness because you have the deniers, and that's like a legit thing. But I'm not sure that a 12-year-old population of TikTokers is the right audience to do that.
Yeah.
Granted, there's certainly deniers, but they are not going to be swayed by TikTok videos.
They're not watching TikTok. So. You know what's weird is that when you're kids and doing this sort of thing, you know, like you're just kind of like, you know, I don't know, you're kind of innocent, naive, and caught up in this thing, and we can roll our eyes and think that's gross and weird, and there's all sorts of truths to that, but QAnon is super screwed up and super weird and super dark, and people are being elected to Congress and like openly admitting to believing in that stuff. So I mean,
yeah, I mean, a friend of ours posted something about that the other day about how, you know, it being a bridge too far, that if you literally think there's an international pedophile ring that worships Satan and literally eats babies, I don't know how I can convince you that that's not true.
Yeah.
I'm grateful they're willing to self-identify, so I know to stay away from them.
They have a convenient logo that they are starting to wear now.
True.
The Q symbolizes keep your distance.
Keep your distance.
Yeah, but they, weirdly enough, don't want to wear masks, and they want to be well within inside the 6-foot social distance bubble. Yeah, I don't know, man. That one's a weird thing. Okay, here's a funny one, or a weird one. Japan is running out of credit card numbers. They have a domain name type problem, or an IPv6 type problem, but with credit card numbers.
That's pretty funny, right?
As more people are shopping at home, and I assume that most people know that like the first 4 or 6 digits are reserved by like nation codes and like the credit card suppliers. So you actually only have, you know, some of the digits, and they're running out because everybody's shopping at home now. I always wonder with that, because there's been a lot of services over the years that allow you to get disposable credit card numbers, essentially.
Card numbers, yeah.
And I always wonder, like how limitless is that supply? I mean, the way that they've segmented those card numbers, there's not, you know, I mean, it's not an infinite supply, but
yeah, I just thought it was funny. What is it about Japan though that's different than America? I mean, how did we not run out? I mean, why is there a credit card number exhaustion gap? And you know, when we're so bad with money as a country?
I imagine that it's because there's something about America getting an extra digit or two, or we have more banks, and maybe there's more bank consolidation in China.
That's a good point there, Mr. Mulder. Well done.
Anyway, I just thought that one was fun. There's a cool video in there. Somebody basically built a Boston Dynamics type of robot, but they built it, you know, Raspberry Pi level, and I've always had a warm fondness for the thing that was the technology that we covered, let's say 10, 15 years ago, and it was the sort of thing that required millions of dollars and huge government labs, and this guy's doing it with, you know, a $30 Pi, a couple of off-the-shelf little tools. He's got a little robot wobbling around. It's neat.
Oh, he's even poking it with a stick to try to knock it over.
It's just like
if you're not abusing your robot, you're not really a Boston Dynamics guy.
Right, exactly. I mean, I love those videos where they're trying to knock those robots over. They're hilarious.
For sure.
It's a cool robot.
Yeah, it's cute. I think it's a kit too. So I was thinking about I was considering if I could get any of my children to be interested in doing anything, that's something that I would do.
That's really neat.
Let's see.
These are not super expensive.
No, I mean, all of that stuff is probably stuff that you can get off like Thingiverse and what's the little Raspberry Pi store that's got all the little gizmos. Hell, I probably have half that stuff just sitting around here.
You could just make this on your pen lathe tomorrow.
Only if I'm willing to settle for a cylindrical robot made out of wood.
That sounds wonderful, actually.
Yeah, that might be cool.
A little steampunky.
There you go. Now I want to
Penbot.
Penbot. Would you like a pen? I have 300 in my drawer.
Well, as long as you
must
make
donate
sure
to EFF first.
As long as you make sure there's some component of brass in it too.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not really steam punk.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. I've been planning to build a case for my PC for a while, and I'm still trying to figure out how to build like I have to have a lathed component in it somewhere. So, but I think it's going to end up being like support pillars or something. But because I can't, like, I wanted to do something that had a really big curve, but my lathe I can only do like, you know, an 8-inch diameter, and I want like a really gentle curve, but like I'm gonna do a CNC.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was about to say, I mean, because if you put something that big into your pen lathe, it would probably just like barf, you know, at some point. I mean, does it have the power for something that big?
No, my pen lathe. It's not a pen lathe. Technically, it's a real lathe, but it maxes out at like 10 or 12 inches diameter. But once you're over like 6 or 7 inches, like the motor,
you're asking for trouble.
The motor is not really particularly strong. You're going real slow.
Yeah.
Tink, 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 chipping little pieces off while trying to get it right. It's not good.
We have a metal lathe in our shop at work, and at some point someone replaced the engine with an electric motor, which is good because it was originally driven by a 4-cylinder car engine. I'm like, oh, well, okay then. I guess it has the horsepower, you know.
Hey, there's some torque.
No, seriously, it has like a shifter on it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's a shifter. It's not like, you know, like a tunk, you know. It's like, you know, okay, time to put it into gear, you know. It's kind of amazing.
All right. So there was an update on the Epic versus
I'm so
Apple
excited.
stuff. This story, man. I mean, this story trickles down through everything. It
Yeah, it
trickles
really
into the news
does.
industry. But the last time that we talked about it, it was just starting out. But then what has happened since I think we last talked about it here is that the Apple banned Epic, and then not only did they ban Fortnite from the App Store, but they canceled their developer account, which thus cuts off
Yeah.
any developer developing under the Unreal Engine from being able to deploy on iOS, which unsurprisingly landed in
Got everyone really upset.
landed in a judge's lap. And the judge has actually made at least a rapid decision on this part, which is the second part of that seemed retaliatory.
This is Coach.
Yeah, just
Really?
a bit, yeah. And is like, they have to give back Epic their developer account so they can continue to develop the Unreal Engine, but then they are still punting on the 30% in-game purchase, and the arguments I guess are fair to a point from both sides. Epic wants to not pay a 30% tax, and Apple wants to control their ecosystem and make sure that kids aren't clicking on things and typing in credit cards in places that they shouldn't. And that's the thing for me that really frustrates me is that obviously this trickles back into the news industry, and I've said this. I think I might have said this to you guys before, but like, I don't think that, I know Chris isn't an Apple user, but when you're using, so the place I buy coffee from, I go pick up coffee there. Every 2 weeks I go pick up 2-3 pounds of coffee, and they support the Apple Pay in-app, the from the web Apple Pay icon, and the amount of mental burden that is removed for me when I see the little Apple icon for the pay, that's a big deal, because I know that I'm not going to have to type in an email address. I know I'm not going to have to type in my snail mail address. I know that I'm not going to have to type in, I'm not going to go find my credit card number, look up the 3-digit code from the back. I'm just going to press the button, click OK, and then walk over to the door and pick up my coffee in 2 minutes. That's a big deal, and it's not, I mean, I assume Google's thing is equivalent.
Yeah, it's completely the same.
I've never encountered it in the wild in any of my regular things, or any of my regular purchases.
Usually, whenever there's an Apple Pay logo, it also supports Android Pay and
Sure.
Samsung Pay and all those others. And that's actually not terrible, right? Because the Apple Pay in-store rates are not so different from just the normal credit card contactless rate, right?
And I guess what I'm saying is that level of comfort, applied within the App Store or within your Epic games, like that's a big deal. And I want that level of comfort applied to news purchases. And I want that level of comfort applied, like, to Patreon or to tipping people who produce cool content on the internet. The microtransaction things, we still don't have a way to pay a penny a page for a service that you appreciate. Like, that doesn't exist.
But I mean, let's be clear. If it's basically the same as a credit card everywhere, but games and on the internet, where it's suddenly 30% of the fee, that's crazy.
Well, it's anything inside an app.
It's just crazy, right? Like, I mean, so here's the thing, right? So there's a lot to this story that makes me just go, huh? Like, it's not like Xcode was rewritten to reject the Unreal Engine, right? So they pulled their developer key. But would someone else using Unreal just plug in a new developer key? And I think to myself, you know what? It's great that Epic is doing this for Fortnite and for the 2 other Mac games that matter, but no one working in the gaming business gives any crap about Apple,
Sure.
because in the mobile space, sure, absolutely. And that's really important. But, PC Master Race is on Windows. It's not on Linux. It's not on Apple. It's not on Mac. It's just Windows, because the Apple platform is hostile to actual gaming.
No, it's fantastic for audio. It's horrible for 3D graphics.
Yeah, I mean it's horrific, and it's not even like AMD's fault, right? It's just Apple had their split with Nvidia years and years ago, and they just like, you know what, we don't care about gaming, we're fine.
That's enough.
And it's like, I mean, okay, that's your choice. And they're like, the creative use of Unreal in filmmaking is very important to us. I'm like, yeah, but is it? Is it really?
Right.
Because it doesn't seem like it is, But yeah, I don't know. But then I think, this is the same company that had 4 years of trash keyboards, and people
Yeah.
kept buying their stuff. I'm like, who are these wacky Stockholm syndrome users who were like, you know what? I don't need a W key. It's an Apple. And I'm like, well, wait a second.
I don't.
What letter is going to make you wake up?
I still have my 8-year-old, 9-year-old MacBook. I did not buy one in the interim because they were garbage.
They were garbage.
Yeah. Hell, I bought it. I've built 3 Windows PCs in the last 6 months because Macs were so bad. All right.
It's baffling to me.
So, okay, I just wanted to mention, Chris, you posted this one that Kentucky Fried Chicken no longer is using finger licking good because of the coronavirus. Don't lick your fingers, people.
It's just like, it's like the 20th story I've ever seen.
Yep.
Where is it on Taco Zone?
Oh, it's not on the Zone. I'm sorry. It's still in Discord. I'll put it up. I'll put it up in a minute. But yeah, that's just great. That's great.
Yeah, no. I saw that and I was like, first of all, that is the perfect thing for us to talk about. But yeah, here it is. Let me.
Of all the things that 2020 has ruined, finally, they got into slogans.
They got one.
Yeah. That's right. We had this discussion actually in my house, actually like yesterday or a day or two. I now have boys who will eat their weight in chicken nuggets at any point, and we discussed. We've gotten to the point now where we are now buying 2 20-piece chicken nugget meals. If the family goes for chicken nuggets or wants McDonald's, because one boy is going to eat like 14 nuggets. Another boy's going to eat like 12. They're just eating all of our nuggets. So it turns out they actually sell a 50-piece nugget pack at McDonald's, which I haven't purchased yet. But also, I Googled this after I saw your finger looking good thing. They actually sell in Japan, unsurprisingly enough, back to them. They sold for a while a bucket of nuggets. And I kind of think that's nice that that KFC, has competition in the bucket of meat category.
Bucket of slop. No, so it's so the time that I eat McDonald's is when I do those big drives to ski, right? Because I'll drive like 12 hours and then I'll, but like that stretch of I-80, it's just McDonald's and the odd in and out, right? I have to be honest with you. McDonald's chicken nuggets are the most disgusting because I tried them. I was like, I wonder if they're good. They're never good. But they started doing this buttermilk fried chicken thing.
That's the only thing I eat.
Those are good, man.
Yeah.
So, but like the actual chicken nuggets, I'm like, this is just gelatinous white chicken adjacent food. It's so gross.
The breading is strange.
Yeah.
It's a polymer derived from a cellulosic process.
So here's my weird disclosure for you. One of my vivid childhood memories, and this is probably me at like age 10 or 12, and I vividly remember sitting at a McDonald's and discussing with my brother the length of French fries. And I had, in hindsight, what I now understand, that I thought that the way that you made fries was approximately the way that you would make pancakes, like it was a batter. And then you would slice it. So obviously the ones.
So like Pringles.
Yeah, maybe. So, but yeah, I thought that they were pouring a batter. Like it hadn't crossed my 10-year-old mind that they were actually cutting a potato.
Like you made French fries like churros.
Right.
You just squeeze a batter into hot oil.
But what I think happened is that I think that I must have seen how they make chicken nuggets and just translated that. Well, they're just making some sort of liquid chicken goo and pouring it into molds. I think my brain told me that that's just how they make French fries. And my parents, it's one of my vivid childhood memories is my parents mocking me for my stupidness for thinking that French fries were made out of dough. I deserved it. Well, gentlemen, we've managed to squander a half hour. Does anybody have anything else fun they want to talk about?
Just the state of the slurry meat industry. When we would grow up, both Steakums and Arby's, we just assumed came from a tube.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I don't think we're wrong. You know, it's like,
Oh
meat.
no, their roast
Piece of
beef
broccoli.
is definitely liquid turned solid.
Yep.
Yeah,
in a
right?
mold someplace.
What's
yeah.
the pink slime, or what is it? What, there's a word.
Pink
slime is what?
I think that's pork slurry. Yeah.
Mm.
I think pink slime is pork slurry or chicken slurry.
Now that
It's
said,
chicken.
For
It's
reasons
chicken because one of my favorite clips ever was, what is the British guy? What's his last name? Jamie the cook.
Oliver.
Yes, Jamie Oliver. One of my favorite clips I've ever seen in my life was Jamie Oliver trying to convince kids to eat regular chicken and not chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
So he showed them the video of them using the pink slime and talking about the chemicals, and they're all like, gross, yuck, yuck. And then he pulls out a bag of chicken nuggets and he's like, now who wants some chicken nuggets now? And all the kids are like, yeah, I want chicken nuggets.
Nug me.
Screw you, Jamie Oliver. They kick him. They push him over. They take all the nuggets.
Don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good that they've done that.
They're like, are these chicken nuggets made from the slurry? And he's like, yes, it is. And they're like, slurry's the best.
Sign me up. Can I get it at a 7-Eleven?
Give me some slurry. Can I just take it directly from the hose? You know,
in the Slurpee machine. I just want a 32-ounce big gulp of slurry.
Oh, that's so grody.
It's the grossest.
Oh, what if the cup was made of breading? Huh?
Oh, you eat the cup. Rob, we have to go to
Yeah,
business.
the cup is made of breading, so you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
eat it like some gross ice cream cone.
Yep. All right, we're gonna need some venture capital. Chris, you're in charge of finding us a very stupid VC.
All right. But we'll call it the chicken
I'm already
cone,
funding a
right?
game.
The chicken cone. That sounds all right.
You laugh. This already exists. They have chicken in the form of like a cup, and they have all these. They have chicken fries now. Have you seen these? Where it's basically it's a protein fry made from chicken, and oh no, it's so grody, dude. There's so many grody foods out there. So
I don't know what to say, man. I have little boys. There's a lot of McDonald's in my life. It's one of the few things that can be eaten without a temper tantrum.
yeah, that's true.
All right, let's say goodbye to Jake and Elon. Chris DeBona.
Goodbye, Jake and Elon.
Rob Roseboom.
I got to go get me some chicken nuggets.
Oh, love them nugs. All right, this has been episode 504 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Takamalda. You should have a healthy lunch, because I don't think that the rest of us are going to.